Hi there, welcome to Box Bread. Okay, so my pick of this weekend's fights is the World WBA Super Featherweight title fight between the current champion Nicholas Walters and his challenger Miguel Marriaga. It sees an unbeaten Jamaican going up against an unbeaten Colombian in New York. Just before I get onto that fight, just first very quickly, a couple of other notable fights this weekend. Erislandy Lara is going up against Delvin Rodriguez. I fully expect Erislandy Lara to deal with Rodriguez and beat him. And in the same way, I expect Deontay Wilder to deal with Eric Molina and beat him and retain his heavyweight title. So I think Beterbiev is back in the ring as well. I expect him to continue his knockout run. I'm not sure who else is in the ring. I'm trying to think, but they're the three fights that spring to mind. But this fight here, Nicholas Walters against Miguel Marriaga, is the one I think that you should keep an eye on. If you keep an eye on just one fight this weekend, because I think it could be a really good fight, and I think it could be an intriguing fight. I think we'll learn quite a lot here, and I think the majority of what we learn will be about Marriaga. As you know, Nicholas Walters has had some hype around him the last couple of fights, because he stopped both Victor Darchinyan and Nonito Donaire, both guys that have been at the top of the game, and he looked very good in doing so. Marriaga, on the other hand, is similarly inexperienced, but he hasn't had those couple of fights. You know, he's been fighting lesser opposition, so we really don't know how good he actually is at this level. And this is going to be, without doubt, his toughest opponent to date in Walters. The best guy I think that, or the most well-known guy that Marriaga's fought, is Chris Martin, which, you know, that gives you a kind of idea of his level of opposition he's faced. And also it's about not just the level of opposition but location. Marriaga's mainly fought in Colombia and Mexico, I believe. He's only fought in the US once, and that was the kind of like the biggest stage he's fought on in terms of exposure. And you know, whereas Walters has had those two big fights now against Darchinyan and particularly against Donaire, and he's got the world title. So although there's only a 5-fight difference between their records, they're both unbeaten, both got high KO ratios, which leads you to think that, you know, this is a fight that could turn out to be better than we think it will be, or it could turn out to be very disappointing. And I think that what we find out about Marriaga is really what will determine how this fight goes. Either, you know, a few things could happen. Either Marriaga is not as good as we think he is, or think he could be, and he gets blasted out of there by Walters. It could be that he's far better than we think, or as good as his record might suggest he is, and this goes the distance, or he actually beats Walters. It could be somewhere in between, and I think that's what will likely happen. That he's actually somewhere in between those two, and that he's actually a decent fighter, but not quite good enough to win the world title off of Nicholas Walters, a guy who I'm sure you may have heard by now. Marriaga actually beat in the amateurs. He beat Walters in the amateurs. I don't know the nature of the victory. Can't really comment much on that. All I can say is that amateurs is different to professional, as we know, and I wouldn't put too much stock in that if I were you. But you know, let me talk a little bit about Miguel Marriaga. From what I've seen of him, what I think of him, a very aggressive, come forward fighter, likes to push you back towards the ropes. Has pretty decent movement, sometimes neglects the jab, sometimes sets up his punches well, sometimes doesn't, and that's going to be key in this fight. He really needs to set up his punches really well against a guy like Walters, who's tough to get, you know, tough to catch, he's tough to get into in the ring. He likes to get you on the ropes, and then he likes to throw a good variety of punches. He throws some good hooks, he throws good uppercuts in his combinations, and he has quite a good variety of punches when he gets you back up on the ropes. Doesn't like fighting backing up, I don't think. He likes to come forward And that's the problem I see for him in this fight, is when Walters, who also likes to come forward, pushes him back, how does he deal with it? And I'm not sure he's that good at fighting going backwards. And the difference in this fight is Walters is. Walters can fight going forwards, can fight going backwards. You know, the thing with Walters is I'm not completely sold on Walters yet, because I'm quite a cautious guy when I'm looking at boxers, and I don't like to jump in too quick and say they're world beaters. But he definitely has a lot of potential. He's definitely looking very good. He has a lot of promise. He does a lot of things very well. And I think he's a more well-rounded fighter than Marriaga, and that's why I'm picking him in this fight. Few things, moving on to Walters now. Physically gifted, has really long arms, has a good range, and he uses it. He has one of the, from what I've seen, I'll go as far as saying, I think Nicholas Walters has one of the best guards in boxing. He keeps it up constantly. Okay, he's very good soundly and technically with this. When he's throwing punches, he keeps his non-punching hand quite high. And what I like about Walters is, I like to say that he has an honest and modest style. So he respects his opponent. He keeps his guard up, but not only that, but he's got very long forearms. So he's one of these guys who has the benefit of being able to guard his head and his body at the same time. And he does this very well, okay? That's why it's so difficult to get to Walters, because you go to the body, he's got his arms blocking you. Then you go up top, he's got his hands, his gloves blocking his head. So he's taking punches on the arms and the hands. And it's very difficult. Normally you get boxers, normally in general boxers have to cover one or the other. And that's where you get guys go into the body to bring the arms down so then they can go up top. And that's how guys open guys up. Or, you can go high and get their arms up, and then you can go low with body shots when they're exposed. So wherever they bring their arms, you make them bring their arms somewhere, up or down, and then you go for the opposite, okay? With Walters, it's difficult to do that because he can cover both at the same time. He does the basics very well. Like I said, keeps his guard up, throws a good solid jab, and the thing with Walters, he doesn't need to throw multiple flick jabs. His jab is solid. When he throws a jab at you, he makes sure it sticks, okay? He only has to throw it in singles, and sometimes likes to set up with a straight power hand. Can throw multiple jabs, but doesn't have to, because his jab is so good and so strong. He can use one single jab and that means he takes less of a risk. So it's one single jab, and then gets back to keeping himself defended. He can punch with both hands with power. He's a two-handed fighter. I think that's why he beat Donaire. Donaire is a one-handed fighter and got exposed. He's a very left-handed fighter, Donaire. He fell in love with the power of his left hand, something which, his left hand is devastating, but if you fall in love with a certain attribute, it takes away from your well-rounded game. And I think that a well-rounded fighter in Walters beat a very one-dimensional fighter in Donaire, because he's always looking for that left hand. And I think that's what happened in that fight. He doesn't waste shots. He doesn't waste energy, Walters, okay? He doesn't. He's very accurate, and he doesn't throw a lot of nothing punches. If he's throwing at you, he's throwing at you to do damage or to set something up, okay? He's doing everything for a purpose in the ring. He's not doing things. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not throwing them really to waste things. And there are occasions where, the one negative I can say about Walters, there have been times when I've watched him and I thought he has departed from that a little bit, and he's got a little bit ragged. He's taken a bit of a risk where he didn't need to, but it's worked so far, and that's what a guy like Terence Crawford has done. Watch him against Gamboa. Terence Crawford is a master. Terence Crawford is one of the guys I'm highest on right now. He's one of my favourite fighters. I think he's a real deal, and if you look at him against Gamboa, he took risks, but he's so quick and sharp, and he's so good at landing on you and evading your punches, that he just took Gamboa apart completely. And that's the type of guy I kind of see Walters being, potentially. A guy who can do that. Likes to walk you down, like I've said, has very efficient and reactive footwork. So he's good at cutting off the ring, and when you move, he moves with you. He has reactive footwork. So you watch a guy, he's closing down on the guy moves, he moves straight away. He's very reactive in that sense, and that's a good trait of his. He can fight outside and in, like I've already mentioned. He can fight going forwards and going backwards, which I think will be the difference in this fight. He can set traps for you, which is another thing Marriaga has to watch out for. He throws straight short punches at short range rather than hooks. So when he's close, a brilliant thing that Walters is able to do, which is quite rare, I feel, in boxing. If you look, he's able to throw a straight punch from short range. Now, normally guys get into close range and they're throwing hooks because they can't get any leverage, they can't get in a position to throw a straight shot. They got no space between them and the opponent, so they're throwing hooks. This, in my opinion, has less power, less of an effect the majority of the time. What Walters does brilliantly is he changes the angle of his torso, he slants, so he can actually get the actual leverage and the movement on his arm to throw a straight punch. So whereas this might be a bit difficult to do, when he does this, he opens up that space and that gap to actually open up that straight punch, and then he'll follow that with an uppercut. Or a similar combination, which is very dangerous, and that's a good attribute that Walters has. Watch out for that. And that's really my breakdown of Walters, why I think he wins this fight, why I think he's got such potential, and why he's so good. Obviously, you can see I know a lot more about Walters than I do about Marriaga. That's what this fight is for. We're going to see a lot more about Marriaga in this fight. Is he actually good enough to beat Walters? Has he got things that I haven't picked up on? Haven't been able to pick up on, that he can show in this fight and actually, really prove that maybe he's the real deal. Maybe he's the guy we should be really high on. I don't think so. I think Walters is. I think Walters will win this fight by stoppage in the second half of the fight, but I think that Marriaga will show that he is actually a decent fighter and a decent prospect in this fight. A lot of it's guesswork. We'll see if I'm right, guys. So, enjoy the fight. I think it could be intriguing. It could be a disappointment. It could be better than we think. But I definitely would tune into this fight this weekend, guys. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there because it's going on a bit. But I'm picking Nicholas Walters to beat Miguel Marriaga, and I will be watching with great interest. Thanks for watching.